There it is. The plane has landed. This is a look at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. And that plane, you can see the news crews rushing there. That plane is carrying, of course, 3 people who've been released from Russian custody in this historic prisoner exchange. A reminder of who's about to walk out of those doors. Evan Gershkovich, a Wall Street Journal reporter who was in custody for almost 500 days. Canadian-born Paul Whelan. This is a man who was arrested in 2018 in Russia. He went to Russia for a wedding. He was arrested there. He spent more than 2,000 days in detention. And Arsenault Kara-Murza, she is a reporter who was also arrested. The people you're seeing in the frame here now, obviously U.S. President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris. They have been working on this for a very long time. This was a deal brokered with 7 countries. And Joe Biden said, no one got anything for this. This was just something that was done because it was the right thing. The people behind him, they're just out of frame now, are the family members, including the mother of Evan Gershkovich, who fought tirelessly. This is a woman who traveled the world trying to get people to pay attention to help her son be released from custody. So the doors, obviously, of that plane are open. It is really late at night. They must be exhausted. They awoke in Russian prisons this morning, likely had no idea what was happening to them when they were transferred. Cameras were on them as they flew internally in Russia and then flew to Ankara in Turkey and then on to here in Maryland in the United States. All told, some 24 people were released in this prisoner exchange. And there you go. That looks like Paul Whelan, who is coming out, the first to greet Joe Biden there. This is something Joe Biden has vowed he would do for a very long time. And he maintained today that this is something that you could see from the emotions, actually, at the White House, at the State Department, how hard people have been trying to make this happen. And all those family members were in the Oval Office today when they heard the news that this has finally happened, and they got a chance to speak on the phone with their loved ones in Turkey before they boarded this precise plane for that 10-hour flight back to the United States. That is Canadian-born Paul Whelan, 2,000 days in custody in Russia. Some of Paul's family members are there, as obviously, as you can see. You'll see some children in the crowd as well. These are 2 girls, one a little girl named Miriam. Oh, there's Evan Gershkovich. This is the Wall Street Journal reporter. This is a very impressive man. He had to sign a form asking for clemency in Russia. And at the bottom of his form, there's a section for comments where you could write in what you wanted. Imagine what you would want to write after 500 days in custody. He wrote, as one of his requests, that he would like a sit-down interview with Vladimir Putin. Pretty sure he's not going to get that, but he is going to get a lot of respect, and he's going to get a huge homecoming party from the offices of the Wall Street Journal, who have not let up on Evan's story any day. Any day you'd open the Wall Street Journal of the past nearly 500 days, there's been a story about Evan. They have been working tirelessly. They have produced an epic accounting of his time there and the efforts of his family and his mother. If you get a chance to read it, it's an interesting story about international diplomacy. As Joe Biden says, it's when it works. And that's a good mom right there. Evan's sister is there, his father, his mother, and his brother-in-law. And that's Arsenault Kara-Murza. She is a journalist. She's a journalist who was working in, I think it was Radio Free Europe in Russia. And she was held for a very long time. Her children are there. I think her daughter had a birthday today. They sort of sang happy birthday to Miriam at the White House, but there's no better present than this one, being able to reconnect with family finally. It's unclear, I mean, the health of these prisoners is unclear. They seem obviously walking under their own steam, leaving there. We've heard a lot of support for them from the likes of Brittany Griner, the WNBA star who's playing at the Paris Olympics right now. There you go, there's a good homecoming. Brittany understands what this moment is like. She said she's thrilled for them. The family of Paul Whelan have said they need some time, of course, to sort this out mentally, what this is like for him. They need to make sure he's okay, but in due time, they believe that he will tell people what it's been like. And Canadians may remember this feeling of seeing people released from custody. Don't forget Michael Spavor, Michael Kovrig, who were held by China for a very long time. When they were finally released that September day, almost 2 years ago now, these scenes of tarmac reunions sort of grip this country, so you can appreciate how much this matters in the United States. The big questions, of course, why did Russia say yes to this? What does Vladimir Putin want for this? There were some Russian prisoners held who were released, people who were being held elsewhere in Europe, people who had carried out assassinations. They went home, but is that enough for Vladimir Putin? And now that this has happened successfully, does it give him the capacity to do it again? Just as with when Brittany Griner was released from custody, what does he want? Those are questions that will be sorted out and asked in the days to come. But as you can see, President Biden was heading over to the news cruise there, the family still connecting on the tarmac. You can see Vice President Kamala Harris just out of frame there, looking as if she too is heading to the camera. So it's possible we will hear from the President, Vice President. It's unclear right now, of course, it's very late, but I suspect this is a moment they will want to share publicly and will want to say something. So I'd keep an eye on this feed there. I think you're likely to hear something soon. Very relieved family members. So we're going to try to go to President Biden speaking. He is in fact talking right now.
You let these people rot in jail because other people may be captured. We will set out all the notifications to all the other countries, all our citizens, the countries not to go to, what to do, what not to do, and they got to pay attention. I got more work to do. So.
Madam Vice President, how do you feel?
This is an extraordinary day, and I'm very thankful for our president and what he has done over his entire career, but in particular as it relates to these families and these individuals, what he has been able to do to bring the allies together on many issues, but in particular this one. This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy and strengthening alliances. It's an incredible day. You can see it in the families, in their eyes and in their cries.
When did you know you got the deal done?
A while ago. We got to make sure, we wanted to make sure everything was in place. And Slovenia made the right move at the right time. So anyway, look, it's time to trust. I mean it. I know everybody thinks I talk about the notion of relationships with foreign policy with other countries. Much of it, and you've heard me kid with Barack, kid me, all politics is personal. It matters. Other leaders trust you, you trust them, you get things done. And that's how this got done. A lot of help. Anyway, Thank you.
How worried are you that the Middle East?
I'm very concerned about it. I had a very direct meeting with Prime Minister today, and very direct. We have the basis for a ceasefire. He should move on it, and they should move on it now.
Is that chance for a ceasefire ruined after the assassination of Hania?
Pardon?
Is the chance for a ceasefire ruined after the assassination of Hania?
It's not helped.
Thank
That's all I'm going to say right now. Thank you.
you.